Alright, what's up? This is my second video, and I'm just gonna be explaining something that I mentioned in my previous one, which is the exaggeration of light within a landscape, which can be, to me, it's the most gorgeous landscapes have that aspect in them, and by that aspect I just mean like a very light area, a very obvious light source, and a very obvious just sense of light reflecting on the water or whatever the fuck you're doing. So I'm just gonna jump right in and I'm gonna explain myself as I go. So big brush doesn't need to be flat like this. I mean, this is like my favorite. I don't know if you can see that, but it's 1.5 inch Yasutomo China. I don't know, I just got it at a local art store. They should have it at like Blix and stuff, but any big brush will do. I find that ones with very soft bristles, ones that don't have a lot of spring, are much easier to blend with when doing backgrounds for landscapes. So for this style that I'm teaching you, and there are a billion styles, there's dry landscapes, like just wet on dry, which is which can work very well, but to me this is much easier, and it produces very loose and like just inherently beautiful results. So I'm gonna just start off by fucking going in, alright? And I'm being very loose. I have no preparation. And I'm not saying you should necessarily follow suit completely with this, but I'm just doing this painting for the video's sake, right? So I'm really wetting the paper, and this is just some shitty 140-pound paper. Don't be surprised if it curls up during this demonstration. An issue with this is the paint might roll off of it, so not using the best materials, but definitely just gonna go for it. Okay, so I'm gonna make a decision right now. I'm gonna decide where the sun is, and fuck it, I'm just gonna do it right there, okay, or maybe down here. All right, but the sun is setting because that's the most beautiful time of the day in terms of light exaggeration. So yeah, I'm gonna go for a warm color, maybe some burnt sienna or some yellow ochre, maybe the two of them. I have a very dirty palette, like as you can see, I'm not really giving a shit, but you can still produce beautiful results with this. So I'm gonna get a bit more water on my brush, get a bit more of the yellow ochre and burnt sienna. Right, I'm just gonna drag it in. Right, oops, see that didn't look very good, but it's all right because the wet paper gives so much leeway that you won't even notice it. All right, so we're gonna leave a light area where I decided the sun is. Right, so I'm gonna go in with a bit more color, a bit more burnt sienna, and just drag it in. All right, as it dries up a little bit, my paper's a little too wet. As I said, it's not like the nicest paper, but it'll definitely be fine. It'll definitely work out. It'll definitely give some pretty results. So generally, the sky is darker in the corners and away from the light source, but also it is definitely lighter near the horizon. If you ever watch Bob Ross or have been outside, you'll figure that out. So I'm gonna just go for like some ultramarine or cobalt. I don't know what this is, like not the nicest palette. I just take this with me when I go sketching or something. I don't have it on me now, but I have one of those brushes that has like water in it, and I just bring that with me because I'm lazy. So I'm gonna bring it in, and I'm just starting very light. Probably should be going bolder, but I usually use some tubes, so I can definitely get a lot more thick colors with that. All right, if there's a little excess paint on the bottom, which is kind of annoying, just take some toilet paper or tissue or rag, doesn't matter. Just do it. The main thing about this style of painting is to be loose. All right. A lot of people take their art very seriously, which is very good. Take your art seriously. You know, it's an extension of yourself. You have to like really care about it for it to work. You know. That being said, you can't make a fucking Mona Lisa every time, and not everything you make needs to be a commentary on your life. Okay? Yes, your art is a reflection of yourself and it reflects how you feel and think, but you shouldn't be pressuring yourself to make beautiful pieces every time. Or, I mean, it can be beautiful every time, like I'm sure you have that ability, but it doesn't always need to mean something super like beautiful or like look super trendy, like not trendy, but you know, like Tumblr-esque. You don't need to worry about that, and I feel like that's definitely been something that's affected me in the past, because I've wanted my things to be super, like just way too over the top, and not over the top, but like just, and there's definitely a time and place for those types of pieces, like ones that are very meaningful to you, right? But it's not always necessary. Sometimes you just need to get yourself to start painting, right? That's one of the main reasons why I'm doing these videos, is just for personal gain, because it motivates me to paint. So I just, you know, if you have an idea that you really want to express, fucking go for it. Like, be my guest, but don't be searching for a super deep photo that'll change, or picture that'll change someone else's life, because it just might not be there. You know, it might not be there today. But that shouldn't deter you from drawing in general. All right. So now I'm trying to go really a lot darker, because the darker the dark areas are, the lighter areas are. It's pretty common sense, but at the same time, you know, a lot of common sense things are hard to keep in mind. So yeah, one of the main things that I've learned about like watercolor, and especially doing landscapes, is just keep it fucking loose. Because people, like, sure, you can do a really tight landscape with like beautiful trees and everything, but just, you know, when you just go for it, people tend to really appreciate that. I don't know why. Sometimes I'll show people things with like perfect like waves, super detailed, you know, and they'll just be like, I like this one. And they point to like a fucking, you know, painting I did in 5 minutes. You know, just like, kind of, I feel almost disrespected. But at the same time, it's like, well, you know, just because something doesn't take a long time, or just because something doesn't, like, just because something comes natural to you, and this is what a lot of teachers would always tell me, just because it comes naturally to you doesn't mean it's less good. In fact, a lot of times it means better, and it shows a lot more of you in it, and it tells a story. It's more likely to, you know, just be better. So right now I'm just trying to get as dark a color as possible in this first wash. I'll be able to layer over it, so I can always go darker. Right, this wash is definitely not going to be the darkest, but this first wash, very, very nice to get those dark areas in the corners, you know. Don't make it like too perfectly like, right, this is like a very like kind of textbook. Right now I'm just like trying to explain it, but here we go. So we're finally done with the base a little bit. I think it could be lighter in here. I'm gonna try to just dab it off a little bit, you know, maybe it'll still be wet enough to blend into there, but you don't want to really do that. That's usually not the best idea, actually, because then you'll get these hard lines. So I changed my mind, and I'm gonna go in with just a brush with only water and try and just soften it. Yeah, just go with it. yeah, don't be afraid to say fuck it, because, especially with paintings like these, they come and go in like 5 minutes. So don't trip. All right, so clouds. I like to paint clouds with lines of their own. I find that it's easier to kind of flatten out my brush, get a really dark color on there, and go in with, like, still during the first wash, and just fucking, like, just try and get that color in there. So just get some dark color, just try and hit it in. All right. And maybe there's just one like huge cloud right there. And Bob Ross was like fucking stoned all the time, it seems. And it seems like he like said some like kind of stupid shit. But at the same time, he obviously knew what the fuck he was doing, because everything he did came out beautiful. So he's like, sure, he says some like based shit talking about like happy clouds and stuff, but if you give your drawing kind of like that kind of life that he did, it'll come out pretty, right? And so here, all right, clouds, they kind of look like clouds, but there's no real proof. It's because it's like there's no real evidence that it looks like a cloud. It's not like necessarily photorealistic. Well, this painting won't be photorealistic, but this little piece of toilet paper will definitely make it better. So check this out. So towards the light, where the light is, the sun is right here, right? So light's gonna be hitting the bottom of the cloud. So I'm gonna dab off some of the paint on the bottom of the clouds, right? And that'll just give it a little bit of reflection, give it just a little bit of body. You don't want to go too ham with this, because it just like really won't necessarily work. Like, it'll just make everything look like just kind of blurry. So you do want to be somewhat conservative with your usage of the toilet paper. I just use toilet paper because it's super absorbent. Yeah, do with that what you will. I don't think it's a big deal. It's just toilet paper. So yeah, you just dab. No, don't dance. Don't start dancing. But you just dab away the paint that you're done with. If you want to go down, perspective is very important with landscapes. Like, so keep in mind, when you do these clouds, the ones that are farther away are gonna look flatter. All right, that's what happens, because you're looking at them from a more equal angle. The farther away something is, the more similar it is to be viewing something like from the side. You're seeing more of a side view of it the farther away the cloud is, but the closer it is, you're going to be seeing more and more of the bottom of the cloud. So it's going to be lighter, the tops are going to be darker because it's closer to the atmospheric haze. All right, so I'm going to just darken up the top of this cloud real quick. And okay, now I'm just going to wait for this to dry, and I'll be right back, I guess. Alright, what's good? We are back, and we're gonna add some land because it's dry now. It dried a little lighter. It's not fully dry, but fuck it, it's fine. So I'm just gonna make a dark color with this small brush, because using that fat brush on this palette is just a pain in the ass. So I'm cheating. I'm just gonna get some black. It's probably better to make your own black with, like, I don't know, like ultramarine, or here, what is this, like Prussian blue. Alright, here's some Prussian blue, and then I'll add some burnt sienna. I'll make like a dark Yeah, know your colors. That'll help. But, you know, what's knowing your colors when you don't even know how your fucking palette works? But here we go. That's burnt umber. Or that's just like raw umber. Is there any burnt sienna in this palette? Fuck it. Okay. What is this? Payne's gray. You know, just mix your colors up until you get a nice, like, you know, okay. Burnt umber is a bit more yellow than sienna. That's fine. So I'll just use a bit purpler thing to balance it out. Okay, here we go. There's my color. It's nice and dark. And I'm not going to paint with this brush. Well, actually, I'm going to make it darker. So I'm just add a shit ton of black. You know, because I want it to look good. Dark. Don't be afraid to go dark with these paintings. This painting is way too light, the one that I'm doing right now. If it would be for like anything, I would probably just do another painting because it's like just way too dark, way too light. You have to go dark with your paintings. You have to go dark to show the light. Okay, so here I'm going with this trusty old brush, and I'm not, you notice there's no horizon line, but this line of land will give the illusion of there being a horizon line. Okay, see, that color is way too fucking light, and that looks like shit, right? It just looks like a thing there. You know, the sky, you can see like the lines of the brush in the sky through it, you know? But, you know, you can always go darker. That's one positive. So let's fucking do that because this is way too light. Okay. Here we go. Oh, well, paper's already wet. So, just gonna have to be patient. And you're gonna shape it. Be very loose with this again. You know? You could pull down the reflections. I personally don't like doing that just because I think it just kind of makes it a little messier. But you know, it's your painting. You do you. Alright, that's a pretty good base layer. It'll dry light later, but we'll paint over it. Okay, so while that's drying, I'm gonna fucking pull out a smaller brush so I don't yoke my painting. So is this small enough? Yeah, sure. Alright, just kind of pull this real thin. This brush has more spring to it. There's nothing better for small shit like this. You know? Let's see. Is there anything else? You can do like boat. Really, the subject of this photo, of this painting is this. Like, that is where the eye is gonna want, where I want people's eyes to go, right? So, I need to make the corners darker, you know, so that pops up more. Alright, so I'm just gonna go in with, you know, this, get real fucking dark, dude. Like, this shit's gotta be like black almost. Like, really, just like, don't even trip about it. Like, I'm just going for it, you know? Yeah, this might not work out too well for me, but here we go. Let's do it. Tap, tap, tap. Tap, 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 tap. And I'm gonna tap a bit more. And voila. So, that looks darker. So I just realized that the camera like slipped a little bit, so I didn't get this whole bottom portion. So I'm just gonna explain it really quick. I already got this in, but this boat, literally all I did was just outline a boat in black, just kind of from my head. Actually, when I initially painted it, it looked very flat, and it was just like two-dimensional. I realized well, if the horizon's all the way up here, we should be looking down on it. So you can see I added a bit more depth there and added this bottom line to make it look like we were looking down on it, and it worked a little bit. But it just was enough. And here, the bottom I just added like some black, and then just Naruto bookmark. I don't know, I just found it on the floor. Just scrape it off and shoop, and it would like make those little details appear. Let's see. We could call this done. Guess. I hate this though. Right. So what can I do about that? Well, I have to wait till it dries. Maybe I can just like speed up that process and be a little lazy. But this one's closer, so it's going to be darker, higher saturation. It's a main rule you have to remember. So closer things, more saturated. Remember that. Am I teaching yet? But for real, check this fucking shit out. All I'm going to do is get a bit of black, you know, or I guess it's gray, and it's kind of watery, but because it's darker, maybe I'll have a jagged edge there. Because it's darker than the other one, and what's right behind it, boom, it just gets pushed to the front, you know. Just that easy. And then we can just bring this same color even here. Boom. Alright, maybe there's a rock right here. Just fuck it. And you know, this was a super simple tactic. This isn't like a very great painting, but now I'm just gonna do a little show off what I've done utilizing these techniques to their fullest potential. Take that back. Not their fullest potential, but to a more full, more realized potential than what you see on your screen right now. BRB. So a year ago, my brother moved away to college. I was pretty, I was gonna miss him. So I did this painting of a view from one of our favorite hikes. Yes, I live in the East Bay, Berkeley Squad. Most of you guys watching this are from there, and my friends that I'm telling to watch this anyway. So, fucko dad, I don't know. See what else. Okay, this one I'm most proud of. Should I move the camera? I don't know, maybe can you see that? No, you can't, okay. So this, by the way, like the camera that you're looking through is masking tape to a lamp. So yeah, I'm high quality. Tell all your friends. So this painting, as you can see, the main focus is really these waves, and I did that with gouache on top of watercolor, but you can still see the initial layer is the same as that very first layer we did in this painting, and it adds so much. The gradient can be so nice, and you don't fuck it up like over here, but I always nitpick myself. But if you go darker, thick paper, 300 pound, I'm gonna fucking cash out because, yeah. But anyway, you can get very nice gradients. I think this one could have gone darker, but it's fine. And let the viewer figure it out. I was looking at a picture trying to draw this. how the fuck am I supposed to do all these little buildings? So I said, fuck it, I'm gonna do some dots. And it ended up actually working out pretty nice, you know. Maybe I added a little few details like these streets going down because those are parallel to the view. But over here, I just started fucking doing dots. And something that people viewing art really appreciate it when you trust them to figure out what it is you're doing. Because if something looks photorealistic, you know, sure, the main focus is how skilled you are, but not the piece itself. Like, things that captivate people are things that they get to figure out, and things that's like, oh crap, I never saw it this way before. So if you can tell a story and also just like really get your viewer to appreciate your art, it's just gonna be much nicer for them. Anyway, that's about it. I don't think I'm gonna do music in this video. I might, but the last one, you know, I did. It's probably copyrighted. You know, it's such a fucking good song. So I'm just gonna I don't want to do the shitty like YouTube or like Mac music because it just sounds all the same. But I don't know. We'll see.